my little party animals. hiphiprenee here today with a brand new speed build for you, and today we are doing the cemetery that I discussed in my last non-scripted speed build because there's probably been a brief history between then and now. So this is, again, in Willow Creek. I've been kind of like just going through Willow Creek. I did this over my vacation, which at the point of you listening to this was like a week or two ago. So I am pre-recording this, just keep that in mind in case we get any crazy announcements between then and now. I did just watch the trailer for Cottage Life, I believe is what it's called, so I am, at the time of recording this, very well aware that that is a thing that we're getting. So if there's another announcement besides that, I'm sorry that I'm not mentioning it in this video because, hi, this is past Renee talking to you right now. But this is actually a build that I did before the library that you saw, I think, again, at this point last week. I actually did this build first. I just really wanted to do a landscaping build. I had done a build recently. I can't even remember which one it was, but I don't know, I had a really, really good time with the landscaping, and it was just kind of like, you know, haphazardly done, which is kind of how I do my landscaping anyway. I don't really do like manicured lawns in The Sims or anything like that. Everything is like a very kind of wild growth, so I just wanted to do something that was, you know, very landscapey and not very buildy. I wasn't feeling like I wanted to build at the point where I was building this. So me being who I am as a person, I can't do anything normal, and I couldn't just do like a normal park. I obviously had to go with something ridiculous. So I went with a cemetery, and kind of my plan for this is like, I don't know, if I ever eventually get into like a really good save file that I'm super excited for, I will place this down in the save file, and then like kind of as Sims die, I will switch out the vampires' tombstones for like regular tombstones. I don't know. I am also going to say I'm sorry for scrolling through debug so much. P-Frog-Sims yelled at me for that the other day. She said that it actually hurts her soul to watch me dig through debug all the time, and she was yelling at me to get better build by, which I do not have. I explained this to her, and I'm going to explain it to you as well, because I'm sure there's a lot of people who are like, why doesn't she have better build by and all of that stuff? It's because I have a really, really good memory of kind of where everything in debug is, but 90% of the time, I'm not going through debug because I know I need something. I'm going through debug because I don't know what I want, and then when I go to like actually edit the video and things like that, there's always like a spot or two where I completely forget that I was just like aimlessly going through debug, and then by the time I'm doing the voiceover, I am so lazy at that point that I'm like, I'm gonna let it ride. We're just gonna deal with the fact that I am aimlessly searching through debug, and I'm sure that it's really pissing some people off, but you know what, it is what it is, and here we are. So that's your explanation, I guess, for why you constantly see me just like mindlessly scrolling through debug. Maybe someday I will get better build by, I will try it out, but my computer has been like very upset with me lately, and I don't want to do anything to anger the computer gods, like adding in more mods and things like that, because I mean, my City Skylines mods are already taking over the computer. I don't think I can do it with The Sims also. But anyway, so I have completed the 2 areas in the cemetery where there are actual graves. So I essentially kind of set this up almost as like a little walkthrough park. So your Sims can, you know, they don't really have to like visit here. I mean, they do because that's how the game is set up. But like, they could come here and like just be walking around downtown Willow Creek and kind of walk through the park. That's the idea. Of course, it doesn't work like that in the game because it's a lot, and you have to travel to different lots because we don't have an open world. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about the lack of open world. It's okay. It's okay. But I figured 2 little sections for cemetery, and I didn't want the lot to be a generic lot. I've always kind of noticed when you do generic community lots that there's not really a lot of other Sims that will show up to these places. A lot of other Sims will show up to bars, to lounges, to bakery, cafe, whatever it is that you have. There'll be a ton of other Sims there, but for whatever reason, when it's a generic lot, they just kind of like don't show up. So I tend to use generic lots for like my weddings and things like that, where I don't want like random NPC Sims just kind of like coming into the wedding. But I wanted this to be a place where like if you visited this with your Sims or your Sim family, there would be like other Sims here doing things. So I did label it as a national park instead of a regular park, because if you do a regular park, you have to put in like a playground, and there's a lot of really weird specific things that I didn't feel like fit into the cemetery vibe I had going on. So I went with the national park, and the only thing that kind of threw me for a loop with the national park was that I had to include grills. That's just, it's a requirement for there to be a national park. So I did include them. I put in a little wedding area. I know that there have been many people who have gotten married at cemeteries or have that, you know, like kind of morbid thing going on that they really enjoy, and I'm all for it. So if you want your Sims to get married in a cemetery, they can do it here. But I did end up putting like the wedding arch with the grills and some picnic tables and things like that. And I tried to keep it as with the theming of the rest of the park as much as possible, just because it felt like a really odd thing to put in there, but I think I did a fairly good job, and here we are at the end. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you are not already. And I want to say a quick thank you to my patrons, Alara Wilder, Holly Monroe, Zamboxious, Merc Maestro, and Sydney O'Rear. You guys are the real MVPs. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye!